Hello everyone, I'm Chris with Dream Studios. I am back with a model demonstration. So let's go ahead and take a look. The ATPT, the All-Terrain Personal Transport, is an Imperial one-seater vehicle. I can remember first seeing them in the video game Rogue Squadron in the 90s. Since then, they have made many appearances in games, novels, including the Battlefront series. I always liked this design because it reminds me of the ED 209 from RoboCop. I decided to render this model in 3D as a 3D printable model. If you'd like to learn more, be sure to check the links in this video's description. This video is broken into 3 parts. First, we have a look at the 3D files. Then I give you a look at the physical prints. Finally, I provide a primer on how to set up for successful printing. Let's have a look at this cool design. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I set up this, especially this ATPT head. This took me a couple tries to get right. For some reason, the angles on this, just the way the head is, were causing suction problems. It's just really strange angles. This up, down here, all these flat planes were a challenge. So I'm going to show you real quick how to set this up. So I've got a new project here. That's still the Jupiter build plate. Let me switch this to a Saturn so I can show you this. Will very easily print on a Saturn. So here's a Saturn build plate. Much smaller. This is not a big model. It seems kind of big when it's put together, but individual parts, not that big. You can print this entire project on a tiny machine like the Ender 3. So what I do here, first thing I do before I do anything, is I hollow my model. So this is a solid piece right now. So I'm going to come up to my hollow feature. The default thickness is 3.2 millimeters. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and run my hollow filter. So here we see it. It's hollowed. That's a 3.2 thickness, which is fine. Now, in the old days, I used to just go ahead and print this. Now I've learned from my buddy Sean at 8K Miniatures that you need to put drain holes. Really important. The reason is you don't want resin trapped forever inside your part. Eventually, that's going to cause problems. The resin wants to degas. It'll expand, it'll cause cracks. So what we're going to do to avoid that is knock holes where we can to allow that resin to escape. So that's unseen. So we're going to put in an additional hole here to allow that resin to escape. Again on the other side here. And I'd like to put a couple of holes in to allow some drainage here at the front. So I'm going to put a hole right there where the cannon goes, right there where that cannon goes. And that's going to allow resin to escape out of the front. Since the windshields here are covered up, you can go ahead and dig holes here if you wanted to. And since this is all covered up, we're going to put a drainage hole here, a drainage hole here, and maybe one here, and one here. So that's going to allow all that resin that's loose in there to filter out. Really important. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about orientation for this part. Whoops, still on a hole. So I am going to pitch this back, not a whole lot. I'm going to pitch it back at about that angle. Let me go ahead and make sure I bring this old one up here so I can see my pitch. So we're going to match that pitch. So I am going to bring this angle up a little. Then I'm going to rotate this. It doesn't matter which way, but I'm going to rotate a bit like that. That might be a little too much. About like this. This is going to prevent suction in this area, this windscreen. Here, the top of the turret ball and the windscreen were issues. So, this will reduce the suction of those areas. All right, so that's it. So let's go into our support setting. Let me find out what my support was on my original project. I can do that by going into the support setting for this. I have a density of 78, an angle of 83. Over here on this corner, density 78. Angle 83. Okay, and I got my raft on. Let's go ahead and hit to platform. Okay, there are our supports. I can come underneath this model and examine where these supports are. For the cones, I like to add, I noticed I had one issue with these cones down here, so I'm going to add a couple extra supports. Wherever I see a big gap, I might add a support, but that's pretty dense. That's looking good to me. This requires some sanding when you're done with your print, but this is how I've got my previous one set up, and it printed great. Okay, so there is a little primer on setting this up, how to hollow it, how to angle it, how to set up your supports. I hope this little primer on resin printing will help you out. And here is the physical kit, you guys. 13 parts, a PDF that you print and use as your decal for the ankles, templates for the two windows. Go on to this guy. Legs are 3 main parts. 1, 2, 3 with the foot. Let's take a look at this face. I gave you guys instruction on how to print this successfully. That is a really nice print. We've got a nice key here for the back of this guy. He keys in right here, and that glues down. And all of these vent holes are hidden, so there's no cleaning. There is a little bit of sanding, especially on this guy, a little bit of sanding, the way I showed you guys he supported is here on the bottom. This is straight out of the printer this morning. Hard to see, but there is a little bit of sanding left to do on that. This is one of the backplate versions. There's 2 versions you can choose from. And he lives right there. That lives connected here. Legs are pretty simple. Your antenna, your feet. Really cool design here. This is the alternate foot, and I call these talons. They're like a bird's foot, talons. This is the relaxed version, by the way. This is the standing version, relaxed version, if you want to pose him doing a step. One last note on the foot is the design stands a little bit front heavy. So to balance it, to make it stand on the stand stable, I'm going to embed a pin probably about this angle into this. I probably won't go further than that. It'll just stay in this part, and then I'll have that pin come out a good inch or so, and that'll embed into a base. And that's it. It's a pretty basic kit. I can't see that this would take longer than a day to build and paint. One-day build project. Available now. Here's the alternate backplate. I'm not sure which I like better. I actually like both these backplate versions. This one is a little bit more my design. This is more of the design seen in the video games. Okay guys, there is an overview. There will be a build-up tutorial for this coming soon. Like and subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified when that goes live. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.